It is time for part 2 of the Week 6 preview here on the Audible. Cecil, Lammey, Sigmund, Bloom, Rams, and Baltimore. This thing, well, 6 weeks ago, looked like it would be a scorcher. And instead, Bloom, it just might be a stinker, which means put in all your Rams because the Ravens don't play defense anymore.
Yeah, that's what we're looking at, and we're gonna watch and see if guys like Kyle Hamilton and Marlon Humphrey are back for this one. They bring in Alohi Gilman from the Chargers, Odafe Owe, one former first-round pick, traded away. But yeah, I think that's the main story of this game is are the Ravens going to show any kind of sign of life? Matthew Stafford is hot right now for fantasy, and there's no reason to expect him to slow down. Kyron Williams is playing tremendous football right now, influencing the outcome of games, of fantasy matchups. He's in your lineup. Of course, Puka Nacua, the most valuable player in fantasy football. It's Matthew Stafford's back. Not a problem. Puka Nacua, the psychopath, and even Devontae Adams in this one. So yeah, you would expect this was one of the best regular season games. It was in Baltimore too. I don't know if they played last year or the year before. It was a tremendous game. Like you said, Cease, we were looking forward to it. I think Ravens fans are only looking forward to the bye.
Yeah, looking forward to Tyler Huntley. They haven't announced a starter. We're recording Thursday morning. And yesterday it was like, okay, Lamar's not going to play. Could be Cooper Rush or could be just Tyler Huntley.
Yeah, at least that's not the kind of bottoming out. When they had Tyler Huntley as a quarterback, there were some moments for this team, some moments for Huntley. So something to bring things back. Bring back Derrick Henry for your lineup. Look, there are some situations where you might tell me, it's a PPR league. You like to flex a wide receiver. You have good wide receivers, and see someone says, "Am I going to play Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt or Derrick Henry or Rico Dowdle?" Some running backs you might have drafted later, picked up off the waiver wire. I don't know if you're starting Derrick Henry in this one. I don't know if you're starting Zay Flowers. He did get the deep ball from Cooper Rush late last week. That saved him for fantasy, and that's what set up Henry's touchdown. It was garbage time, though. Isaiah Likely, no fantasy value right now for Mark Andrews either. Still watching that split play out as we're looking at the 1-5 Ravens if they don't win this game.
Yeah, woo. Who would have thought that? Tennessee and the Raiders now had a little more hope for the Raiders. And yes, Brock Bowers thinks he can play. More on that in a little bit. But the Tennessee side, what are we learning with Cam Ward so far?
Yeah, we won. We got a win. It took a ball being snapped off a helmet and someone fumbling an interception into the end zone and someone tossing the ball away at the goal line. So you see, sometimes they say if you change one play, well, if you change those 3 plays, right? But my point is that it's a win. It's momentum. It's momentum for Cam Ward. It's a good matchup for him. Calvin Ridley's back. Calvin Ridley's making plays. He should go back in your lineup as a wide receiver 3 flex. Tyjae Spears is back. We'll see if his snap count goes up. It might make you a little less excited to play Tony Pollard, but it's a good matchup. Again, if someone said Tony Pollard or Derrick Henry this week, oh man, I didn't expect that to be a tough matchup. Watching Gunnar Helm, the rookie tight end out of Texas, they really like there. Chigokonkwo, who we like, but the split is starting to go in Helm's favor. And as Ward plays better, as this team in this offense has more confidence, we may see more fantasy value coming out of this offense, and they should be more confident after facing a Raiders team that looked like they, should be relegated to college football last week.
Yeah, well, there no Brock Bowers. Maybe he's back this week again. Last week it was so interesting on Saturday. It was like all the reports. Pete Carroll says he's going to play. Brock Bowers says he's going to play, and then another report Saturday. Yeah, he's not going to play. Okay. Now, how do they again? Thursday morning, I believe, top of my head, Bloom. I did the wire yesterday. Like, I believe Bowers didn't participate yesterday. No. So, like, all right. Fantasy Jim's just kind of waiting and wondering. Also wondering how long Geno Smith's going to stay in that lineup.
Yeah, this is a team, so much optimism. Both of these teams hit reset basically this offseason, right? So much optimism. Pete Carroll, Geno Smith, Ashton Jeanty, Chip Kelly. Well, one of those things has been good, and that's where they're going to rely on this game, Ashton Jeanty. And again, it's a good matchup for the Vegas offense. Is Brock Bowers going to be back? I'm not even sure if they got a week 8 bye. I think that it's well within the realm of possibilities that we don't see him until week 9. And I think if you have him for fantasy, you might be rooting for that Because, hey, there's a lot of good waiver wire options. Listen to our waiver wire show Tuesday mornings live. Come and join the chat room. So you can get through without Bowers. And if you get a full speed, or the closest thing you're going to get to that, because this seems like one of those situations we're going to find out, like at home, he couldn't even walk. And, they had to get a helper monkey to come and bring him food out of the refrigerator, or he was going to starve to death. That's how bad his knee injury was. We find out later on, he can't even sleep. He has to sleep standing up. So, we'll see. If Bowers is out, Jacoby Myers becomes more interesting. Trey Tucker becomes more interesting. Jack Besh, just watching him as far as his development for dynasty leagues. Is this Geno's last stand? Because how many more interception fests, how many more games that they're not competitive are we going to endure? It's a question that may be up for debate if Vegas can't win at home against Tennessee.
Yeah, lots of problemas there if that doesn't happen this week for the Vegas Raiders. Problemas in Cincinnati, that's why they went and got Joe Flacco. Problems answered? Problems solved? I don't know, but he beat Green Bay 3 weeks ago, right? Wasn't that week 3? Cleveland. So now Joe Flacco faces the Packers again, and now this time shepherding the Bengals. And on a short week, listen, a guy like Flacco, you can drop him in. Hey, throw deep to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. This is a bump up from what Jake Browning was providing.
Oh, yeah. No, there's no doubt about that, Cease. We've had wacko for Flacco, but really, this is taking it too far. What's fascinating about this, Cease, is we're opening up a rift in the football time-space continuum, right?
Yes.
Because what is it, like no quarterback has beaten the same team twice in a season on 2 different teams, right? Or something like that. I don't know if that's – I might be making that up. I don't know. But the point is, this is weird. But, hey, weird can be great for fantasy football sometimes. So that Flacco's just going to let her rip. And that's actually, I think T. Higgins is probably the guy who can benefit the most from that. Of course, Jamar Chase can benefit from that, but we saw him do that in garbage time. Maybe Chase Brown can, just because they have more scoring drives, or they're more competitive, or the defense actually is like, whoa, we actually have to defend the deep part of the field now that they have a quarterback who can bring it into play and not poop his pants. But at the same time, Joe Flacco might need like a colostomy bag after this one, because they have no offensive line. So is it going to be just showing that, yeah, Jake Browning wasn't ready for this job, but it's an impossible job anyway, especially against Green Bay, especially against Lambeau. They made the Detroit Lions offense look powerless to move the ball. What are they going to do to Joe Flacco? Or will Flacco surprise us and make us all wacko for Flacco?
Yes. Will there be a surprise? I think Christian Watson getting close to return. Yes, I believe I wrote that yesterday, Bloom. So, like, Green Bay, all right, they had to buy, little reset. And again, maybe the wide receivers get a little mix up if Watson is able to return in the near future.
See, we talked about this in part 1 of the preview, like checking in where teams are. 2 weeks ago, and I mentioned it. They frustrated Detroit, they frustrated Washington. Jordan Love, he was hurt last year. He's playing better. Everything is coming together, and then you lose to Cleveland, and you get in a 40-40 tie with Dallas. Then you go into the bye and you try to make sense out of this, right? Well, this is a good game to get out of the bye for fantasy. Start everybody. Some tough decisions if Jordan Love is your quarterback too, because it's Cincinnati. All right. Josh Jacobs, Romeo Dobbs had 3 touchdowns last time we saw him. I don't know if like that, but Matthew Golden should be in your lineup. Dontavian Wicks is what the heck flex. Heck, Emmanuel Wilson is a what the heck flex in this one, with the possibility that this game gets out of hand in the second half. Even Tucker Kraft. Yeah, Tucker Kraft. Tucker Kraft, a top 5, top 6 tight end play. He could have a massive game. It's the Cincinnati defense. So, yeah, what do you get, Cease, when you have one of the worst offenses and one of the worst defenses in the league? The Cincinnati Bengals.
Yes, I give you Cincinnati and I give you Green Bay. And now we give you San Francisco and Tampa Bay, and everybody's hurt. So it's more Kendrick Bourne. For Mac Jones, likely, again, navigating the injury report is it's a blanky to blanker. Sorry, Joe. When you consider the 49ers and how they have to trot out their team so banged up.
But at the same time, more than hanging around, right? I mean, they just beat the Rams. Cecil, are there teams asking themselves right now, why didn't we look into signing Mac Jones in the offseason?
Perhaps. I mean, it's Kyle Shanahan's system, so it raises the quarterback level play. I mean, Brock Purdy, they're gonna offend everybody. Get offended as you like. Brock Purdy is bumped up by that system.
Sure,
Like Mac
sure,
Jones is bumped up by that system. So if you have that system, you should have been considering it. But if you don't
right,
have a Shanahan system, you're
sure.
not gonna
That's
you're
fair.
gonna get the most out of Mac Jones.
That's fair. I bring this up because he signed a 2-year, $8 million deal. I wonder if his agent is regretting the 2-year part of that because
Yeah, that was not wise.
not wise. So we'll see. But Mac Jones for fantasy, it's there even without his top receivers. Missed the first day of practice this week. Ricky Pearsall and Juwan Jennings. We'll see. But Kendrick Bourne can get it done, and Jake Tonjes can get it done. I mean, again, you can get through with these waiver wire tight ends, even a third stringer who started out the year not with a catch in the NFL. Sorry, the English do I speak it? And then of course Christian McCaffrey. And they don't need to run the ball. You don't need Christian McCaffrey to run the ball for him to be one of the most valuable fantasy football running backs. And what you like about this one, if you're going with Mac Jones as a streamer or quarterback 2 or super flex, even without Pearsall and Jennings, is that how well Baker Mayfield is playing right now, how well this Tampa offense is playing now. It's going to push San Francisco's offense to their limits. And Mac Jones has had 2 very good borderline elite, like 25-point fantasy games in 3 games. And with this lack of weapons. So we saw a fun shootout last week. Unlikely redemption quarterback Sam Darnold, another unlikely redemption quarterback. And we got to come up with a nickname. But Baker the Baby Maker, I like it. But I feel like Baker Mayfield earned a new nickname after 29 of 33 in Seattle last week. Magnificent.
Yeah, Baker Brady.
Well, I was thinking Curtis Mayfield, like
Baker Manning.
Superfly,
Okay.
Superfly.
I like it. I like it. Baker, and I love Emeka Egbuka. We already know without Bucky Irving how this backfield's going to look. So, yeah, Tampa Bay at home against a plucky 49ers team. Sounds like Baker can match that.
Yeah, and we'll see about Chris Godwin, who missed a practice, maybe a little sore, not as effective. Emeka Egbuka, he can handle it all. Anyway, Sterling Shepard contributing. Hey, if Godwin's going to be out, we should be talking about Tez Johnson as a what the heck flex. He started to contribute last week. He's got that speed. He's got that ability to uncover. Baker Mayfield's going to find him. Remember, San Francisco, no Nick Bosa in this one. So, hey, why not Rachaad White? He's a running back 1. He catches passes. He gets goal line carries. Sean Tucker not doing as much. And even Cade Otton, if Chris Godwin is out, because we saw him do some things in Seattle last week. We saw him do some things whenever the passing game was thin last year. And by the way, I'm just putting this out there, folks, as a Baker Mayfield Superfly aficionado. This is the tough part of the schedule. This marks the last game, and without Bosa, it's not as bad as it looked. They had a rough opening schedule. They're going to get healthy. Things are going to get easier. I'm blooming the Buccaneers. Sorry, Tampa fans.
We got 4 games down. We got 3 games to go, including what the heck flex. So let's talk Lions and Chiefs. And much like Rams and Ravens, 6 weeks ago, you're like, man, Lions, Chiefs. Oh my God. Maybe the Chiefs can put up a fight. It is at home. Maybe Bloom. But let's talk about Detroit and the type of fight wave. I mean, best team in the NFL? Best team in the NFL. The Detroit Lions. Traveling to Kansas City. Let's talk Lions.
See, I think this is still, oh my God. I think this is still like, wow.
I don't, because I can't stand the Chiefs. Sorry.
Well, that's fair. That's an ongoing story. One of the ongoing storylines with Jacksonville fans who beat the Chiefs in their signature game last week. Those are the 2 fan bases I think you have the most personal relationship with, other than the Broncos. Is that fair?
Yes.
Yeah, Chiefs fans, Jags fans, Lions fans, I have a relationship with. I'm one of them. And what you like about the Lions, I mean, isn't this fun? Because you have a Lions team that just broke the back of the Ravens, just demoralized them with the running game. But we also know that they can pass, and they have all these different elements in the passing game. And this offensive line, we're not talking about the losses there. We're not talking about Ben Johnson and his play calling. We're not talking about any of that. Detroit's rolling. Kansas City's defense has been good at times. Even coming into the season, we thought this is kind of a defensive football team, part of the dynasty. Well, how are you going to stop these guys, right? So, yeah, I think it could be a David Montgomery game. Again, if the run game is working, and the thing about Detroit and their running game sees is there can be often run defenses that seem like good run defenses, but they don't have to deal with just the relentlessness of this running game. And also these two elements with Gibbs and Montgomery that are so different. And then they run so many concepts and run so many things at you. Amon-Ra St. Brown in your lineup, Sam Laporte in your lineup, Jameson Williams. When's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? It's going to happen. Okay. I understand why he might be on that list that we sometimes have during the season of he's on my bench until he goes off. He's going to go off maybe in this game. And maybe Isaac Tesla, I'm just watching. Khalif Raymond's a little banged up. Every time Tesla's out there, he's making plays. And the thing is, these people need to know this in Dynasty. Go overpay for Isaac Tesla in your Dynasty League, partially because he's in a good organization, but he's actually separating on the NFL field against NFL corners. Okay? He's already ahead of schedule. He was supposed to be a project. All right? You watch him play, he looks ready to make some noise in the NFL.
Are the Chiefs ready to make noise? Discombobulated? Is that the best word?
Pissed off. Sorry, Joe.
Yeah, I guess so. Sorry, Joe. We're not going to talk about the Pringles can and Travis Kelce's pants, but like, okay. Hey, there's a song about it. That's all I know. That's all I know, Bloom. Yeah. Is Kansas City going to look like the real Kansas City? Or is this who they are now? You like the Pringles can thing?
I don't care about Travis Kelce, but did you hear there's a song about his junk? Sorry, Joe. Anyway, I don't care.
Stop talking about that Pringles
can.
Let
me tell you what I don't care about is. Let me read the lyrics of this song that I really don't care about. I do care about Detroit missing another corner. DJ Reed and Terry Arnold now down for the year. Meek Robertson. This is your number one corner. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing because Robertson, you guys got one in Denver, Cecil with Jaquan McMillan. I love Mike Hilton, like a gremlin. Everyone should have a gremlin. Amy Robinson's a gremlin out there. And so, but that's your frontline corner. Okay. And Patrick Mahomes is on a revenge tour to show that he can just put this offense on his shoulders. Now, for fantasy plays, I guess Xavier Worthy, he got 6 catches last week. Travis Kelce has a high floor. He's doing better than I thought he was going to. Did you hear there was a song about his junk? Tyquan Thornton, deep ball, what the heck flex, because even if he's only out there for 40, 45, it's a Detroit game, which means you're going to be having to throw a lot. I mean, this game, we saw one with Kansas City and the Rams. Was it 54, 51? This game has that kind of potential because of the nature of these teams. And Marquise Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, these are like all the running backs. I guess Kareem Hunt could score 2 short touchdowns again. Is this a game that Brashard Smith gets more involved as the game goes on? We'll see. This is super entertaining. I'm glad it's an island game, prime time form. And I'm going to, maybe there'll be some Travis Kelce commercials.
Maybe. Buffalo and Atlanta is up next here, and Buffalo's side kind of licking their chops after last week dropping the ball and getting that loss against New England, now traveling to face the Falcons. What kind of bounce back can we have from the Buffalo Bills?
Yeah, another game where we're saying, what's your response to this point, not losing this primetime game? They lost at home. And you didn't say it, Cecil, I'll say 2 games on Monday night. Come on, NFL.
I hate 2 games on Monday night.
Yeah. So, what does the Josh Allen offense do to answer? And again, a couple weeks ago, we're like, wow, they're so balanced. And now can they hang in a back and forth high scoring game? Well, can Michael Penix and Atlanta even provide that? Or is it going to be more James Cook, Dalton Kincaid's in your lineup? Khalil Shakir, I think, high enough floor that he's a wide receiver 3 flex. And then Keon Coleman, disciplinary stuff, did catch a touchdown, but we're not having that second year breakout. And you have Atlanta's defense coming off of bye. Again, we'll see how teams do with an extra week to prepare for a very good opponent, potentially, if they look the way they did against Washington, if Michael Penix played well. But we've seen 2 Michael Penixes so far this season, and I'm not sure which one we're going to get against Buffalo.
Yeah, against Buffalo, it's like, okay, what are we going to get? We're going to get Bijan Robinson, so we know that, right? But the Penix play, Bloom, it puts everyone in kind of a flex category of like, do I have better options? It is Monday night. I love Monday Night Punch. I hate 2 Monday night games, but let's talk Falcons here.
Yeah, and what you have is, on one hand, if Buffalo's offense is successful and Michael Penix has to put the offense on his shoulders, then there's potential for fantasy here. Or just if he's getting in his groove after that game against Washington, there's potential for fantasy here. But you would think that Atlanta wants to come out and control the game with Bijan Robinson, and Tyler Algier. And then, of course, you're going to play Drake London. I think you got to play Kyle Pitts. Boy, if somebody said Kyle Pitts or Dalton Kincaid, it's like a Spider-Man meme. But Pitts coming on going into the bye. We'll see about Darnell Mooney, and that's another reason why you might move Pitts even a little higher in your tight end rankings this week. But again, this is another team. We're trying to figure this out. Remember, Derrick Henry really. It's funny how they lost the game. The Ravens lost that game, but Derrick Henry was really dominant against Buffalo to open the season. And you would think that Robinson and Algier give the Falcons a chance to have that similar game script on that stage. And on the last stage of the week, we get round 2 of one of the most memorable games, lots of memorable games. Is it a memorable rematch of the Hail Mary game, Chicago and Washington?
Yeah, Chicago and Washington up next. Bears side first. Caleb Williams versus Jaden Daniels. All right, Caleb. Well, what are you going to do this time?
Right, and Washington's defense looked like an easier matchup. Again, Michael Penix got right against them. And then Justin Herbert got beat up against them. Caleb Williams, last time we saw him, we thought things are getting better for him. But against Las Vegas, he was under a lot of pressure. Bears' offensive line was giving some issues. So it's hard to know. Again, you have 2 weeks now. This is potentially one of the more important bye weeks because it's Ben Johnson. It's a chance to regroup. You got to slow everything down, watch 4 weeks of film, and hopefully are better prepared. So Caleb Williams is a high ceiling play this week. Swift should be healthier. I think that he should be in as a running back 2 or a flex. We'll see if Kyle Monangai has a larger role. Of course, Roma Dunze's in. DJ Moore is, the ceiling's not there. It still feels weird to leave him on your bench. Probably a wide receiver 3 flex. And again, a matchup that was good on paper until last week. We're going to see if Luther Burden does more bye week adjustments, more Luther Burden. Alameda Zacchaeus. How's Colston Loveland's health? Is it more Cole Kmet? But, last year, this game was typified by Jaden Daniels' heroics and a Hail Mary. Coming out of last week, again, we had a defense, a pass rush, a pass defense, and we had Bill.
Yes, we always have Bill. Mr. Bill, hello.
Oh, no!
Oh, no. It's Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. It is the Washington Commanders, and we're still waiting for Terry McLaurin, right?
Yeah, it doesn't look great right now. We don't necessarily we'll have clarity on Sunday morning, but I think you got to project and set your lineups as if McLaurin's not going to play. So Jaden Daniels, a solid play. I mean, I understand why if you're still in last year mode, and you're like, oh man, how can you put Jaden? And Chicago's pass defense has been suspect. How can you put Jaden Daniels on the bench? Even in this matchup, right? Like, who would you pick in this matchup? However, you wonder after Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt and this offensive line last week, does this become a balanced team? Remember, Jaden Daniels threw the ball like 25 times last week. Is that going to be the new blueprint? If you don't have Terry McLaurin, how does that turn into a lot of points? Now, Jaden Daniels moved pretty well with the knee brace, but still, why does he have to take punishment when you have a real lead running back now? In the matchup, Chicago's run defense got pushed around and pushed around and pushed around. Without Terry McLaurin, likely without him, you're going with Deebo Samuel, of course, and more, not necessarily deep what that flexes, but we're certainly watching for dynasty leagues, the development of Luke McCaffrey, of Jalen Lane, Zach Ertz kind of disappearing from this pass offense, but that's okay because maybe it doesn't have to be a strong pass offense because they got a running back.
They got their running back, Mr. Bill. All right. You need some punch in your lineup. That's why it's time for ever popular What the Heck Flex. Who do you want to punch in? Just throwing it up to the heavens. Got a couple of Broncos and, yes, more rookies to talk about.
Yep.
But RJ Harvey, I always said week 6 is going to be his breakout. Week 6 is here. RJ Harvey's on my list. By the way, Troy Franklin also on that list. And what the heck flex terms, Torrey Horton should be more than a what the heck flex. But right now, most fantasy jams are just kind of throwing him in there. Like, no, he should be a regular part, at least a regular flex for Torrey Horton there. Malik Washington, I still believe. Do you believe? Even after last week's stinker, I still believe. Tyjae Spears, as you mentioned, is in there. And Kamani Vidal, who emerges in the Kamani Vidal. What the heck flex? Throw him in.
Yeah.
Bloom, it's week 6. Who are some of your what the heck flexes?
Yeah, we all need a what the heck flex every now and then. Running back, Kenneth Gainwell, RJ Harvey, you mentioned. Both of the Chargers backs, but if you have to pick one, I do think it's Vidal. Emmanuel Wilson, Blake Corum, if you like the garbage time, second half plays. On the wide receiver side, Jontavian Wicks, Isaac Tesla, Ryan Flournoy, or maybe it's a Jalen Tolbert week for Dallas in the passing game. Wandell Robinson on a Thursday night, if you're listening in time. Tyquan Thornton in a potential shootout. That's why we like Tesla. Josh Downs, as I think that he's becoming a more reliable target for Daniel Jones. And then you mentioned those Broncos. I'm going to mention both Troy Franklin and Marvin Mims because it just makes sense, right? Ryan Flournoy, I just mentioned him with his 100-yard game. It just makes sense that those guys, if Patrick Surtain just cancels out Cortland Sutton, let some of that speed get into play against a hapless Jets defense. And good luck, everybody. It's getting a little colder. We're going to keep you warm here by the fire.
Yeah. Get your gloves on. That's fine. We're good to go there. It is the Audible. It is 20 years this season of the Audible, and we appreciate y'all out there, whether you're new to the show, whether you're old to the show, experienced. Are you experienced with the Audible? We appreciate you very much. Make sure to check us out. If you're listening to the audio version, check us out on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, check out our audio version. All the love for the Audible. We appreciate you very much. Check out all of our Football Guys channels on YouTube. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you never miss a vid. He's Sigmund Bloom on socials at Sigmund Bloom. I'm at Cecil Lammey. Show is at the Audible saying thanks. Stay tuned. Would you, as always, please stay frosty,